Hey guys, today I want to tell you about a new game platform called Spawn.co. Spawn.co is an AI game development platform. You can come here to play a bunch of different browser games that creators are joining and making on here, or you can make games yourself. And so I'm just going to give you a really brief rundown about what Spawn is, show you some cool things it can do, and also show off some of the projects that I've been working on. So let's hop on over to one of my projects just to give you an idea. Spawn is a full AI game development platform. You're not going to be writing any custom code. It's fully prompt based. You're basically just talking with an AI agent about what you want to build, and then that agent, called Savi, takes your request and sends that to a team of agents that will then go out and build that request. And so as you can see here, Spawn, at least the current version of Spawn, operates on a canvas. And the way this works is whenever you submit a request, I actually have a video of this happening. When you submit a request and it goes through, it will populate more than one variant, more than one version of that request. And the reason it does that is because, while AI is advancing quite a bit, we're still not at the point where AI can 100% reliably one-shot your features. So it's better to kind of treat it like a slot machine, and you'll have more than one version going at once. And so, like, let's say right here, I asked it to implement a certain type of feature. It will then populate more than one variant, and I will hop through those, and hopefully one of these got it the way I want it to be. The other purpose of the canvas is this is kind of like an extensive version history. So, you always have multiple branches to fall back to if you run into problems. Sometimes it's better to take a step back and then try to change up your prompt and do it again, and rather than continually trying to beat your head against a wall, trying to fix something that doesn't work. On top of that, the canvas has a lot more features. You can have extensive notes on the canvas. So, like, I put all my game design notes here. You can bring in assets. You can generate assets. Like right here, you will see that you could generate pretty much anything. You could generate 3D models, music, sound effects, etc. And I've done a lot of that. A lot of these sound effects were generated here in Spawn, some of the music, but I've also brought in some assets as well. So let's hop over to one of my latest projects. This project is called Battle Wizards, and you'll have to forgive my PC. It's a bit dated at this point. I'm like long overdue for an upgrade, so recording and playing these games in browser doesn't exactly work the best for me. I will experience some lag, but anyways, this project is inspired by games like Super Smash Brothers, Divine Knockout, just a really simple game to where you're playing a wizard in an 8-player free-for-all, and the goal is to just knock players out and you will get points. It's 7-minute rounds, and once the round ends, the player with the most points will be the winner. And I will hop into another browser real quick just to show some of the multiplayer. But basically, the really cool thing about Spawn that really sets it apart from other platforms is everything is multiplayer native out of the box. You can make single player offline games if you want, but one of the main features of Spawn is that multiplayer is built in and instantly supported. And if you know anything about game development, multiplayer is pretty much the hardest part to get right. It's really hard to make multiplayer games, and so the fact that Spawn takes care of that for you is really nice. On top of that, like, whenever you, let's see, I'm moving the other character over in the browser. Whenever you're working on your games, it's so easy to just grab the link and then share it with a friend. So, like, you can instantly just get playtesting done while you're working on your games. Like there's not an elaborate process to get multiplayer up and running, and so just to show off combat a little bit, so your main auto attack, it knocks people back. You have a shield, little PBAOE that also knocks back, and then your most powerful strike is your dash strike, and this will just basically send people into outer space. But yeah, it's a really simple game mode. I have like these environmental hazard effects that I made. So you have the flame pillars, you have the boulder that spawns randomly on one of these 4 pads and then rolls across. That'll also knock you back. But yeah, I mean, the very fact that I was able to make this game with just full-on vibe coding is really cool. As someone who's been making games and vibe coding some games on the side over the past year or so, it honestly would have been really hard to even pull this off just 6 months ago. Just making a fully multiplayer network game within the span of weeks. And honestly, while it took me about 2 weeks to do this game could have been built a lot faster. But I took a lot of time making a lot of custom effects like these grass shaders and post-processing and just adding all these bells and whistles that aren't necessarily part of the core gameplay experience. But yeah, the other thing actually before I fully close out is these character models. Now these character models were not generated by Spawn, so this is an example of being able to import assets. Everything else that you see in this level was fully generated by Spawn, but the character models I brought in from the Unity Assets store. Anyway, so coming back to the Spawn main page, you can see different games that people have made on here, and one thing that's really cool about Spawn is if you do become a Spawn creator, which I have, you can set up stores in your game and they will split revenue with you 50-50. So any purchases that get made in my games, I'll make 50% of that revenue, and that goes for everyone. On top of that, you can mod other players' games or even make mod versions of your own game. So like this Call of Paint, if I wanted to make my own version of this Call of Paint, I could let's see, click this to play, and then I can make a mod. And that might sound bad up front. It might be like, wait, you're just ripping that creator off who worked really hard to make that game, spent a lot of time perfecting it, and then you could just easily click it. But no, it actually benefits the creator because let's say I made a mod of this and I was charging things in the store, that creator is going to get a percentage of all the sales that my game makes. And you as the creator, you get to, as far as I understand, this may be wrong, but I believe you get to set the splits of how the revenue for your mods is split with people who make mods off your game. And so let's hop into one of my other games. This game I kind of haven't updated in a while. I've just been fully focused on my other one, and honestly there's a few bugs that I really need to address. I might do that at some point, but I'm kind of just overworking on it right now. With this project, I spent a lot of time on the environment, which you'll see in a second, and I was probably a little bit over ambitious with this game. This game's a multi-team hero shooter with 3 classes, and the idea was going to be that I expand those classes over time. And so you have 3 teams, and the objective of the game is you're fighting over, it's basically Oddball, kind of like Oddball from Halo. And so it's a bit laggy for me right now because I am recording, and this game has a lot more objects than my other one, but yeah, like I created this environment and I really spent a lot of time on it. But anyways, so the objective of the game is you're fighting over this objective in the middle. You're carrying the Doom Skull, and the person carrying the Doom Skull gets points, and you also get points for kills. So anytime you kill someone, you'll get a small amount of points, and the first team to reach 1,000 wins. And so yeah, this game was a little bit too ambitious, being more of a hero shooter, having a lot of different moving parts and mechanics, and then also the fact that it's multi-team. It's more suitable for larger player counts. You know, it's not really a fun game to just hop in by yourself or with a small amount of players. Whereas like the game that I'm currently working on, you still need players, but it could be fun with just 2 players playing. Versus this game doesn't really hold up like that. And then the first game I made on Spawn ever, Ascension Arena, which is 66 days ago. So that gives you a good idea. I want to say it took me 2 weeks to make this game back then. And so 66 days ago, it's basically about a little over around 2.5 months ago that I really started making stuff in Spawn. I did have some projects that I didn't release before this, just learning how Spawn worked, so just messing around with things. But this is the first project that I really attempted to make something. And let's go ahead and adjust this volume a bit. So this game is kind of like a survivor's game, but it's multiplayer. So you hop in, and originally it was going to be PvP, but I was submitting this game into one of the creator contests, and I just ran out of time to get the PvP in. And so it's multiplayer, but there's no PvP. So you can help other players out, but mainly you're out for yourself trying to survive the waves of monsters coming in. And with each wave, it'll spawn more monsters. And I have not played this in so long. So forgive me for not knowing how my own game works. But this game is pretty cool, especially considering that Spawn has gotten a lot better since this point. You can do things a lot faster than you could back then. Just with the improvement of models and the improvement of Spawn as a platform, there's a lot more things you can do now that was harder to do back at this point. Like it looks like my shooting's a little off. Forget, this game has a lot of verticality. And there's power-ups around the map, so like this is a jumping power-up. Lets you jump really high. But yeah, so this is the Spawn platform. It's really cool. You know, it's still in its early stages, but the team, what I can say from just working with this platform and watching, just interacting with the team and submitting feedback, is they are really hardworking. They're constantly pushing updates. They're constantly trying to take feedback and improve the platform as much as possible. Right now, they're actually completely overhauling the engine and making a even better version of Spawn. Like there's a lot of feedback that they've taken over this time. They've learned a lot over the course of this being out, and they're applying those lessons and making the platform even better. So, you know, I wouldn't judge it too much right now. Like, even though in my opinion it's really cool what you can achieve right now with Spawn, I think it's definitely far and above many of the other options out there, or just even like trying to vibe code with a model yourself. You're going to be hard pressed to be able to get multiplayer and a lot of the complex mechanics working. Their models are fine tuned towards game development, not just general purpose coding agents. So Spawn, you know, there's a lot of really cool things that you can do. The amount of creators coming in and making cool stuff is starting to grow. There's a lot more people making games, and I think it's just worth checking out, whether you just want to play some random little interesting indie games, or if you're interested and you've always been interested in game development. but never been able to kind of take that step yourself. I would say Spawn's the perfect platform for beginners in that regard, and the experience is just going to keep getting better and better from here. So if you like the video, go ahead and like, give a subscribe, and I just really recommend checking Spawn.co out.